Tonight, California burning. Too many fires, not enough crews, and the driest season in memory has turned the countryside into a tinderbox. I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, a new way out for homeowners when that dream house becomes a nightmare. It's called selling short, and it sure beats foreclosure. A blunt message over Iran's nuclear program. The Israelis tell Washington, if you don't destroy their nukes, we will. And the other America. He used to design cars. Now he delivers newspapers.
Do you consider yourselves middle class?
Not anymore.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. Fire crews in California have a lot of experience fighting wildfires, but they had never seen the countryside explode into flames the way it has over the past few days. More than 800 wildfires are burning tonight in Northern California, an area that hasn't had a good soaking rain in months. One of the biggest is burning in Chico. Sandra Hughes is there.
It could be an historic fire season. Record low rainfall, bone-dry brush, and unseasonably high winds, all coming together for a perfect firestorm.
There was explosive conditions up there, real hot. The fire kept breaking on us and slopping over, so we had to really work hard.
You need to grab some things, and then you are to evacuate.
All over Northern California, hundreds of evacuations, many voluntary so far.
Fire department came to our door and said, you better get out now, and start throwing ladders against our roof. We decided that was a good time to leave.
Tens of thousands of acres have burned since the weekend. The fires sparked by an unprecedented 8,000 dry lightning strikes, hitting an already drought-weary state. Fire crews are working around the clock.
We don't like fires getting over 5 acres in this state, but unfortunately when you have this many going, you have to pick your battles and fight the ones that you can win.
Firefighters who contained a fire in Napa are heading off without rest to the nearby Walker fire. And while reinforcements are coming from Nevada, Oregon, and Montana,
people are tired right now. People are starting to show the sign of wear that we wouldn't see until late in the summer.
A big problem, 300 vacant positions and a shortage of fire engines at the U.S. Forest Service.
The department has assured me that by fire season, all these positions would be filled. We're into fire season. They are not filled, and that's a real problem.
So cash-strapped California is looking anywhere it can to pump up its own firefighting budget.
We need to raise more revenues in order to buy the equipment and get the resources to fight all of those fires. And so I think our idea is to raise, the homeowners insurance.
Now, cooler weather is helping firefighters as they start to contain some of these fires, but officials are warning all over Northern California that air quality exceeds federal safety standards. And here in Chico, where I'm standing at the headquarters for the Butte Fire, this is the worst air quality in the state. It's really making it hard to breathe unless you're using one of these air masks. So officials are saying unless you have a serious reason to be outside, you should stay inside. Katie?
All right, Sandra Hughes in Chico, California. Sandra, thanks very much. Meanwhile, the Midwest can't catch a break. Still reeling from the floods. They're expecting more rain this week. Storms already have hit Missouri, where another levee broke this morning in St. Charles, just outside St. Louis, and that caused new flooding. But officials say it's not threatening homes. The Mississippi River may not crest in that area until Thursday night or Friday. Meanwhile, in Iraq today, 4 Americans were among those killed when a bomb went off at a district council building in Baghdad's Sadr city. The blast took place as U.S. and Iraqi officials gathered for a meeting. 2 American soldiers and 2 U.S. government employees were killed. The U.S. military blames the attack on Shiite extremists. Meanwhile, more tough talk from Iran's President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. He vows to continue full speed ahead on his nuclear program in spite of new economic sanctions imposed today by the European Union. This as the U.S. and Israel discuss what could be the next step against Iran, a military attack. From the Pentagon, here's David Martin.
Joint Chiefs Chairman Admiral Mike Mullen leaves tonight on an overseas trip that will take him to Israel. The trip has been scheduled for some time, but U.S. officials say it comes just as the Israelis are mounting a full-court press to get the Bush administration to strike Iran's nuclear complex. CBS consultant Michael Oren says Israel doesn't want to wait for a new administration.
The Israelis have been assured by the Bush administration the Bush administration will not allow Iran to nuclearize. Israelis are uncertain about what would be the policy of the next administration vis-a-vis Iran.
Israel's message is simple. If you don't, we will. Israel held a dress rehearsal for a strike earlier this month, but military analysts say Israel cannot do it alone.
Keep in mind that Israel does not have strategic bombers. The Israeli Air Force is not the American Air Force. Israel cannot eliminate Iran's nuclear program.
The U.S., with its stealth bombers and cruise missiles, has a much greater capability. Vice President Cheney is said to favor a strike, but both Mullen and Defense Secretary Gates are opposed to an attack which could touch off a third war in the region. U.S. intelligence estimates Iran won't be able to build a weapon until sometime early in the next decade. But Israel is operating on a much shorter timetable.
The Iranians, according to Israeli security sources, will have an operable nuclear weapon by 2009. That's not a very long time.
For now, the Bush administration is counting on new economic sanctions, which took effect today, to persuade Iran to give up its nuclear program. But nobody's counting on it. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Turning now to the CBS News Money Watch, the government reported today that home prices are still falling, down 4.6% in April from the same month a year ago. That is the biggest drop since they started keeping track 17 years ago. Prices may be down, but many homeowners are stuck with huge monthly payments and the possibility of foreclosure. But as Anthony Mason reports, there is another way out.
This house was my dream house.
Nurse Kathy Chick bought her New Jersey home in 2006.
And unfortunately, I bought at the top of the market.
With house prices plummeting, it's now worth less than her $227,000 mortgage. Unable to keep up with the payments, Kathy decided to sell short.
Basically, it's my only option before foreclosure.
A short sale is when a borrower sells their home for less than the amount owed, with the lender forgiving the difference. The homeowner avoids the stigma of foreclosure. The lender avoids getting stuck with the property.
Now almost 80% of my business is short sales. They're putting $2,000 down.
Realtor Frank Weibel has become a specialist in short sales, which are now estimated to account for 1 out of every 5 home sales in the country.
I think it's the next 2.5 to 3 years you're going to continue to see short sales. You're going to see them prevalent.
But selling short is not an easy way out. First, the lender has to approve.
And they're always comparing it against foreclosure. Can they get more from a foreclosure sale than they can from a short sale?
There's nothing short about short sales either. The approval process can take months. You have to show evidence of hardship, and it will affect your credit rating.
But there's probably nothing worse than the impact that a foreclosure would have on a borrower's credit score.
Well, I'm waiting.
Kathy Chick waited 2 months for bank approval.
And so it's extremely scary because I don't know if I'll be able to make next month's mortgage payment.
But she finally got it. Now a short sale could save her from her dream house nightmare. Anthony Mason, CBS News, New York.
In medical news, an alarming increase in diabetes in this country. The CDC reported today that 24 million Americans have diabetes, an increase of more than 3 million in just 2 years. Most of the cases are type 2 diabetes associated with obesity, poor diet, and lack of exercise. And one more medical note, an update on Tiger Woods. He had surgery today on his left knee to repair a torn ligament. As you know, he played in pain while winning the U.S. Open last week. His doctor says so far so good. He doesn't believe Woods will suffer any long-term effects. We have much more CBS News ahead, including why Zimbabwe matters. We'll hear from the presidential candidate who had to run for his life.